And Father Ray Ireland was the disciplinarian, and he was like the assistant principal. He was lost at sea. He went in the Navy and was a chaplain, and his ship went down. He was a great man. Yeah. He was tough on us, but we loved him. Yeah. He was, boy, we had large study halls in those days. And we'd have a prefect up in front doing his book work or whatever. And I don't know, we must have had about probably 75, 100 fellows in that big classroom. And it cut up a little bit. And he apparently would hear it. And we had the French doors. And those doors would open, and he, boom, 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 he'd rattle off about 10 names, down to my office. And he was a piece of work. And then we had these big, thick prose and poetry books. And if you got a jug, you had to, he'd say, bring your prose and poetry book. So he'd open it, and you'd have to memorize some poem. Well, I had mine, so it always opened up to Mansfield. I must go down to the seas again. And he caught on after a while. So he said, I want you to give it to me backwards. He was something else, yeah. Because the tuition in those days was $125 a year, all 4 years. And the first year, my folks didn't have that kind of money, and my mother and I went to see Father Foley. He was the principal, and I was only 13 years old, and you had to be 14 for a newspaper route, 14 to caddy and whatnot, but you could have a magazine route. So he said, what can you do? And I said, well, I'll sell magazines to the folks that lived in the apartments there on Wisconsin Avenue and Wells Street that was in the neighborhood. And I said, okay. So I'd go in there with $2.70 a week and $1.50 the next week. Well, I got $50 paid in. And he said, kid, you're all set for this year. And then the second year, I could caddy. So I was out at Westmore Country Club from sunup to sundown. And I had saved $75 by the 4th of July. So I went in to see Father Ray Ireland, who was the assistant principal, and I laid the singles and the $5 on his desk. And he looked at me and he said, where did you steal this? I said, Father, steal it? I've been caddying since we got out of school in late May, and here it is early July. I'd saved $75. He said, you did that? He said, kid, you got it in for the second year. And those are memories that I really like it happened yesterday.